In 2010, the CIA began to notice something deeply alarming. Their network of informants inside China was collapsing. One by one, trusted assets stopped responding. Others were captured. Some were executed. By mid-2012, over 20 US sources within China's state apparatus had vanished. The Chinese government appeared to have full visibility into CIA operations. Panic began to spread inside Langley. At first, the CIA suspected encrypted communication systems had been hacked. Others thought the Chinese had developed new surveillance technology. But none of these theories explained the rapid, systematic destruction of their networks. The pattern was too clean. Too precise. Someone knew everything. Then a more chilling theory emerged: there was a mole. In January 2012, former CIA officer Jerry Chun Shing Lee flew from Hong Kong to the United States with his family. The FBI had been waiting for him. They had no arrest warrant. But they had a plan? While Lee and his family stayed at a hotel in Honolulu, the FBI quietly entered his room. During the covert search, they discovered two small spiral notebooks. They were hidden inside his luggage. What was written inside would change everything. The notebooks contained names and phone numbers of CIA informants. There were meeting times, operational code names, and surveillance details. These were highly classified field-level records, only accessible to someone with deep access. Lee had officially left the CIA in 2007. Why was he still carrying those notebooks in 2012? Why hadn't he turned them in? The evidence pointed to a serious breach. But the FBI chose not to arrest him immediately. They needed more. They wanted to see where it led. From 2012 to 2018, Jerry Lee lived primarily in Hong Kong. The FBI and CIA began long-term surveillance. They monitored his movements, financial activities, and communications. Agents watched as Lee spent money far beyond his known income. He had no steady job. No legitimate source of income. Yet his bank accounts received large wire transfers. He traveled frequently. He lived well. Meanwhile, the CIA continued investigating the devastation in China. All evidence kept circling back to one man: Jerry Chun Shing Lee. Investigators believed that around 2010, Chinese intelligence agents made direct contact with Lee. At that time, he had been living in Hong Kong for 3 years. He had worked for a Japanese tobacco company. But he remained well connected in the intelligence world. The Chinese Ministry of State Security, the MSS, saw an opportunity. They allegedly offered Lee millions of dollars in exchange for operational data. He was no longer under oath. He had no employer to report to. He had access to memory, and more importantly, to records. The notebooks in his possession held the key. US officials believed that Lee provided the MSS with names of CIA assets operating in China. He also revealed how the CIA recruited its agents, how they communicated, and how they managed surveillance. He described safe houses, handlers, dead drop methods, and encrypted messaging systems. With this information, Chinese counterintelligence began dismantling the CIA's network from the inside. Every name Jerry Lee gave became a target. One by one, the CIA's assets were compromised. Some were arrested in secret. Others simply disappeared. In some cases, Chinese agents turned informants against one another. The CIA never recovered many of the captured spies. It was one of the worst counterintelligence failures in modern American history. Some analysts even compared it to the damage caused by Aldrich Ames or Robert Hanssen. Despite the evidence, the FBI struggled to directly link Lee to espionage. Carrying classified notes wasn't the same as proving he handed them over to the Chinese. The FBI couldn't intercept a specific handoff. There was no video, no wiretap, no confession. All they had were circumstantial clues, powerful, but not definitive. Then, in 2018, Jerry Lee returned to the United States. This time, he landed at JFK Airport in New York. As soon as he arrived, FBI agents arrested him. He was charged with unlawful possession and retention of classified information. During the search of his apartment, agents found large amounts of cash. There were hundreds of thousands of dollars in US currency. None of it could be explained by known income. There were also encrypted devices and suspicious travel records. Still, Lee denied everything. He refused to speak. He claimed he had done nothing wrong. In May 2019, Jerry Chun Shing Lee pleaded guilty. He admitted that he had kept the classified notebooks intentionally. He acknowledged that he knew it was illegal. But he did not confess to passing the information to China. The plea deal avoided an open trial. Many details of the case remained classified. The FBI could not fully prove espionage, but they were convinced. In November 2019, Lee was sentenced to 19 years in federal prison. The sentence was based on national security damage and his clear intent to violate intelligence laws. Jerry Lee's betrayal had a devastating legacy. The CIA had to rebuild its China network from scratch. US intelligence operations in East Asia suffered for years. All because of a man who once swore to protect those secrets. A man who had worn the badge of the CIA. And then sold it to the highest bidder. He never confessed to working for Chinese intelligence. But everyone inside the intelligence community knows the truth. Jerry Chun Shing Lee was the man who sold out the CIA. And his silence cost lives.